Okay, folks, it's Sidecast Buffhanger again. Side for race 20 out of 36, the Pennsylvania 500. So, after racing at, what was it, Chicago, I believe? Yes, it was, no, it was actually New Hampshire. What? Terry Labonte won at New Hampshire, wow. So, I forgot to check that in the last episode. So we did go and have a DNF at New England, at the New England 300. Terry Labonte is going to get his first win of the season. And now we're going back to Pocono. Now, we qualified on pole here at Pocono, and I have the statistics to prove this. And if I can figure out where I'm at right here, we have 2 poles. So, if we go and look at the awards, we can go and see the pole award. We're actually tied for 4th place with Kenny Wallace, who picked up 2 early poles in the season. Meaning we have more poles. That's pretty good for 2 poles, and we might get our 3rd one if we go back to Pocono, which we are. And let's see if we want to overhaul this. We can't. Alright, that sucks. So, I remember looking at it, and it was like 6 races. So, if we go and run this at a racetrack that we are able to have a good finish at, Pocono, if this extra horsepower can result into a better race car overall, perhaps we could get ourselves a decent finish. And then we could overhaul it within that 6 race period, so we can maybe run it here at Pocono, and then run it next week at, I believe, what is it, Indianapolis? I know we're going to run terrible in Indianapolis, but we could still run it there, and it would still cost us the same amount of whatever. Because if we can just get a top 25 finish at, or qualify at Brickyard, that'd be great, you know? I just want to get a good finish, and then I get the $85,000 bonus, and that will help us build it for the chassis shop. So that's my thinking is we're going to run this engine at Pocono, then we're going to run it at Indianapolis, hope we can get 2 top 25 finishes, because that would be $160,000 extra in the team's bank once we get that, and then we'll go back and overhaul it. But here's the catch. 3 races with the engine dyno. If it is 6 races to overhaul it, that means we won't get that extra 10 plus engine power in time for the fall Talladega race, as it would be a race or 2 after Talladega we would have it all done. So the engine power is pretty much going to be for the Daytona 500 next season, which is going to be in 2004. For 2003 we're going to focus on this. But I know that's a lot to comprehend, but that's the game plan, is we're going to run our really good engine now. We'll go back and overhaul it or repair it. Let's see, we're going to go with the best equipment possible, because if we just go out there and just get a top 25 qualifying spot and just finish inside the top 40 and ahead of Mike Skinner, our sponsors will be okay. Again, we're going to be building a chassis shop after the engine dyno is finished, but let's go back to Long Pond, Pennsylvania and try to get our 3rd pole of the season. Alright folks, so we qualified 23rd, had a pretty poor qualifying effort. We definitely had pole speed, but I kind of got in the wall on the 2nd lap, which is the money lap. So we did qualify inside the top 25, that's all that matters. So we secured the $85,000 bonus for the race team, which will go straight into our chassis shop, and hopefully we'll have enough in the bank to be able to get the chassis shop ASAP this season and go ahead and start producing chassis for next year at Texas and Atlanta. So that's what I hope we can be able to do. And let's sit it down to pre-race ceremonies.
Welcome to Pocono Raceway, located in the heart of the beautiful Pocono Mountains for today's Pennsylvania 500 on MRN. What can we look for on this unusual track, Barney?
The corners here at Pocono can be absolutely brutal, and gear selection is crucial for those long straightaways. The drivers that'll do the best are the ones that can set their turns up correctly and slingshot out of them for that extra boost.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. will try to use this race to close in on the points lead.
Gaining on the leader is tough when you are in the top 5 in points. It takes you having a good race and the leader having a bad one in order to gain anything substantial.
Kenny Wallace is having some trouble in the points this year.
And of course, nobody wants to be on the bottom of that points list. He'll have to work extra hard to pick up spots.
He started qualifying well, I'll tell you that.
Out of a hole in this series.
The Nascar.com car has not had much of a year so far on these speedway tracks.
Well, you're right. You can see the disappointment in his crew as well. These guys will bounce back, though. All they need is just one good finish to put their minds back on track.
Stealth bomber coming through.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Engines are fired, and once again, it's Tony Stewart and it's Dale Jr. on the front. I mean, these guys are literally, they are just duking it out for the championship. It's like Harvick and Kyle Busch in the 2018 championship in real life. They're just duking it out, going back and forth. I mean, they are certainly the top two in points and top two in poles as well. Tony Stewart is absolutely having a demanding and dominating season so far in 2003 after winning the 2002 Winston Cup Championship. Well, he's competing for a championship. We're building for 2004. Here we go. Green flag in the Pennsylvania 500. We're bringing a little bit of a better engine. I tuned the car a little bit for handling. Instead, we're going to have higher tire wear, but I tuned the car for handling. So maybe you'll be able to land a little bit better. That's what I'm hoping, that the car will be able to land a little bit better in the corners, which will be able to, if we can figure out how to get this car to land in each corner, we will be able to actually take advantage of the said horsepower in this car. And that's the trick. Is if we can see, like right there, we need to maybe tighten up the car a little bit more. A little on the outside there. Ooh, very tricky getting in turns 3 here. Very flat, kind of sweeping, and you got to get back to the throttle really quick because you got this super long straightaway. And once again, our horsepower is just not where we need to be able to be really, really competitive. But it's better than what it could be, though. Corner. Dang, gum, man, the entry is still way too loose. And we're just surrounded by race cars, and it's turning into the first Pocono race where we don't have the handling to land it in the corners. I'm telling you, it's just so frustrating to go to these racetracks and have in terms of raw speed, we have a car that's half decent, right? But then we get in the corners and we just give up so much time because I can't land the car, because you need a car that you can dive on in the corners like this, and it just don't give up. Look at this, it's just drifting. And then we just give up exit speed, and then they run us back down unless we can block them. And it's literally the same thing that happened at Pocono earlier in the summer. We qualified on pole and we finished dead last. I mean, of course, we had a DNF, but our car was just sliding back so much we were going to finish somewhere around there no matter what. I mean, look at I'm turning all the way to the left, and the car is going up right. That's the problem, is we have no grip, and the AIs are almost perfect around every racetrack. Very rarely do I see them make a mistake. Of course, they're the best drivers in the business, so I don't expect them to. See, like right here, I just completely overdrove that corner. I'm having to run it with my audio off as the engine RPM. See, when you're playing these games so much, every little noise, every little, thing on the racetrack, it's a braking point, it's a throttle point, as we just go through the grass there. It basically tells me when I need to get off the throttle and when I need to. Well, if the audio is saying I'm at max RPMs in an area where I need to slow down because the audio is like a 2 to 1 second delay, and of course freaking the 25 car wants to go all the way to the bottom, and look at what it does to our entry. Absolutely messes up. We're getting in the wall, and we're going to be 41st after this corner. Yep, look at that. See, that's why it's so frustrating. It's because the AIs are absolutely perfect, and you slide up once, you let everyone go by, and it's so frustrating. It really is. But yeah. But hey, on the bright side though, we at least got the top 25 qualifying spot, and to be honest, that's all that really matters to me. I don't really care about that, because we're ahead of Mike Skinner. So if we can just get one more spot, like if someone has a DNF up here, we'll be okay. But it's not going to happen, because look how terrible the car is, and we're going to be tightening up the car on the next pit stop. I'll tell you that. We're tightening up this race car, because it's just, the entry is killing us so bad. If we can just tighten our car's entry, we might be able to get a little speed out of it, because we have the raw engine power to be able to be halfway decent, to run the cars around, but it's just, I can't get into the gas in the corners while it's spinning around. And look at this, they just cut underneath, and then I'm having to run them down like a jackwagon to be able to get around them. And then they hug that yellow or not the yellow, but the extreme bottom line, and it makes me nervous, and I have to drive it in there a little bit harder, and look at my rear view, and completely mess my corner up. It's just driver error. But yeah, it's very frustrating. Who's leading here? It is, once again, Tony Stewart and Dale Jarrett's jumped into the mix here, followed by Dylan Hart Jr. That's your top three here in the Pennsylvania 500 at Pocono. Car is getting tighter in terms of tire wear, but we don't really have a choice. We're going to have to make the race car tighter to be able to fix this corner entry, as we just don't have it. I mean, look at this. We're gaining on the zero car, but we're going to lose it right here. I can't keep it on the bottom. See, that's what gets me, is as soon as I hit the brakes, slow down, the car just spins around. I'm thinking, if we can tighten the race car up, we let out of the gas, let it roll, and then jump back in the throttle, we might be able to get a little bit more speed out of it. But it's not going to matter, though, because we're going to be so far behind in terms of track position. We're going to lose. Look at this. It's just, this race car is so bad handling. And that's why we're going to put a bunch of money into a chassis shop, because I don't care about the downforce and drafting. I want tire grip. I want something that I can dive into the corner, land, and then kick back in the throttle. Because I can get around this joint pretty quick in qualifying, but when you're talking about actual race trim with tire wear and traffic and just the pressure of it, it just, you can't focus. But there's no one on the racetrack, I can hit my marks. It's just when there's everyone around me, it just, look at this. The car, I'm all the way on the bottom, right? I'm on the bottom, and it slides all the way up to the right. It's in the second to halfway to the third group. It's pathetic. The tire wear isn't too bad either. I mean, of course, we're on yellow right now, all four, but I could have probably pushed a little bit more handling for tire wear. It's just, it's really frustrating. It's really frustrating, and I just can't wait to get a better race car. So 2004, we need to start planning for 2004. That's the next year. I'm hoping that we'll be able to lure in a big name sponsor, because I've seen other people play this game, and they always, the best thing to do is to get a big sponsor to help build it. Once you get a good sponsor that you can bring in 100, 200K and just sponsor it instead of alone, then you can really start investing in better equipment and repairing your stuff week in and week out. But running these, 9 race sponsorships, bringing in 30K for just a bonus, it's not going to pay it. When you have to pay 15K per part for a repair thing, and that takes 6 weeks to build, so you have to pay 40 or 50K to have it in 2 races. So essentially 150K in repair costs alone to be able to have your equipment back up again. And once again, we're just sliding so bad. Just so bad. The car is just so bad. But I'm just hoping that we can finish this race. I know we're not going to get what we wanted, but hey, the $85,000 is what I want. We're going to go ahead and pit now. Let's go ahead and pit and try to get 4 fresh tires. A little bit aggressive on pit road. No damage, and we're going to tighten the race car up once again. This car is just, go a little bit. Let's see. We'll try that. See if we can get a little bit more speed out of it. But got 4 tires. Now the pit crew, if we get a big term contract, like let's say we got after NASCAR.com expires, because it was a short-term basis with the hood and side sponsors. I guess we've kind of built a partnership with them, but if we can build a better partnership with them, that'd be great. But if they don't decide to renew the contract after their thing is expired, or they exit out early like Hills Brothers did, we'll have to find a new sponsor. But I'm hoping if we do, we can get one that gives us a really good income. We'll be able to invest in a better pit crew. I think that would be a great thing for 2004, is to get a better pit crew, because having 17-second 4-tire pit stops and 18-second 4-tire pit stops is not going to help us at all. It's not going to help us at all, because it just doesn't. We're having too many miscues on pit road, and that's just not good for our overall race. So it looks like when we hit the brakes, that's when we get really loose. So we need to reduce as much braking as possible. It's a little bit too late now, though. But we have to slow down. That's the thing. That's all we need, the brakes. And it's just the back end kicks out. It's like the brake bias is too much in the race car. That's what it feels like. Like there's too much front brake. If we could kind of kind of adjust that, I'm pretty sure I could get this car dialed in, because I know in NASCAR Heat, the new ones, you can adjust the brake bias. So you go to like tracks like Martinsville, and every time you hit the brakes, your car would slide. It's because you have too much brake in the front or too much brake in the rear. And if you balance that out, you can, or your brake pressure in general, you balance it out. It's not just like bam, slamming the brakes. No, it's more like slam it and you slowly add pressure to it. But that's kind of what it feels like, though. As soon as I hit the brakes, it just slams it instead of easing on the brakes pedal. So I wish we could adjust that, but unfortunately we can't. That's okay, though. We just have to just push through. Oh my goodness, we just got super loose there. Super loose. Now we're drifting. That is great. Brand new tires, and we even tightened the race car up, and we're still drifting. It's beyond me how bad this car handles here. It is beyond me. Of course, we're using the absolute worst equipment possible, but we can't afford to be able to have repair costs. I mean, it'd be stupid for me to dump $50,000, $60,000 to repair a piece of equipment that's only going to be back up at 53 overall. I mean, you really think 3 points are going to matter? Not to mention, after one race, all that money you just dumped into it is gone, because your equipment degrades pretty quickly in this game. So we'll have to just build a brand new one that's actually worth repairing and worth working on, but that's what we'll do. So once we get our new chassis shop, we'll overhaul one of our existing chassis, and we'll have it ready for the Speedway events for next year. And that will really allow us to be able to make some ground up. And the car is getting very tight. It's just part of it, I guess. So we have a pretty good horsepower package. It's just we just don't have the normal package we need. Just the overall. That was a decent turn there. It was a decent turn. I'll admit, that was a pretty good pass. But if we could have more turns like that, that'd be great. This tunnel turn, man, is so bad. You have to get back to the throttle to keep the car from sliding, but if you go in there with a super loose race car to make the turn, your entry is loose and then you slide up and hit the wall. But if you tighten the car up, you have to wait for it before you get back in the gas, and that makes the car slide even more without hitting the wall. So it's so hard to win in that corner. It really is. I'm hoping we can at least get a top 40. But I don't see that happening, unfortunately. I don't see us getting a top 40. Leaders on pit road. I mean, so we passed the zero car somehow. So I don't know how we did that, but we apparently just passed the zero car. Back in the wall again. That's going to kill our speed on this straight. But again, if we can get top 40 and pass Mike Skinner, it don't matter what happens to our race car, because we will have achieved all of our sponsorship expectations. We already get the $85,000 bonus for qualifying in 25th. And I've always kind of shied away at the qualifying objectives, because I'm like, you know, it's qualifying, I'm not good at qualifying. But then I kind of realized that if you get a qualifying bonus, you just show up and race, qualify in that certain spot they want you to, and just blow the engine and go. And we're 40th right now, so if we can hold out and keep this position, we'll be okay. We'll be okay. And I think we'll be all right on fuel as well, because we pitted about maybe a lap and a half to 2 laps worth of gas left in the tank, and we drove away from Bill Elliott unless he pitted. But if we can hold out here, and Mike Skinner is behind us, which he might be, as the zero car was, and we were racing him and the zero car, we might be able to get ourselves a decent finish in terms of sponsorship expectations. And that's really all that matters. It's not about, you know, going out here finishing 25th and starting 25th and finishing 40th. That's what our sponsors want, and that's all we can do. You know, NASCAR.com came on the car to help us out and grow this very small race team, and I'm hoping that we can just get this top 40. We need this points, or we need the money for the team. I don't care about points. Our point situation is absolutely awful, to say the least. The tire wear is coming into effect. But if we get the new chassis, the tire wear will be better, the tire grip will be better. It will help tremendously, but we got to get the upgrade shop And I'm hoping we can be able to pony up the cash and be able to get it within 3 or 4 races so we can start cranking out new chassis ASAP. That's the thinking, at least, and that's the zero car gaining on us right now, so we're going to have to pick it up. But yeah, that's the thinking, is the money we have saved up. This is the first chassis shop. We should be able to get it roughly pretty soon. I don't know. I'm thinking it's going to be like 700K to $1 million to get it at the absolute fastest, which would be four, you know, whatever's, 4 races, 5 races, something around there. Meaning that it'll be done in time for 2004, and we are going to get blown by the zero car because this car is absolutely garbage. I'm honestly considering just keeping the zero car behind us at all costs, because we need to keep these sponsorship expectations. I don't even care. Like, I really don't even care. I mean, car is just absolutely awful at this racetrack. And the zero car kind of has raced us a little bit dirty, so I don't mind kind of roughing them up a little bit if I have to keep this spot. Tire wear is increasing. Yeah, that's us making the car a little bit tighter. It's making the car a little bit tighter, which means we're having to lean on the tires a little bit more to make the corner, which is only going to hurt us in the long run. And look at that. Once again, the car just absolutely can't turn, and there goes our bonus right there. Oh boy. It's pretty bad. You can't even hold on to 40 because the car is just that garbage. Just that garbage. Next race is going to be Indianapolis, and I'm planning on running the same engine. I might as well get my money's worth out of it before Talladega, because we will take it back in the shop and work on it for the EA Sports 500. But here's the thing, though, is we need to have an engine ready for the Daytona 500 too, because that's the biggest payout of the year. So we might not win that race, but we've gained what, like $500,000 in that race. That first one was like $400,000 to $500,000 for finishing in the top 30. So if you go out there and get a top 10, we're talking big money, big money. Not to mention probably a better sponsor at that time too, which means we could get a lot more sponsor expectations. And I'm noticing I'm using too much brake, which is really killing our entry. My goodness, this car is just absolutely garbage. Oh boy. But we might go to get 2 out of the 3 expectations. Just, man, this car is just handled so bad. Just so bad, man. We're about to get lapped by Tony Stewart and company here. Just this car is just so bad, man. It is just so bad. I don't want to become a storyline here. I'm going to let these cats go by. The car is so bad. We're just a field filler at this point. Tony Stewart still leading. White flag in the air. Here comes Dale Earnhardt Jr. and another Dale. It's going to be Dale Jarrett. I'm going to let Jarrett go. I don't want to intervene with these championship contenders. Dale Jr. trying to pass around the Home Depot Monte Carlo. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to get it in turn 1 as they head down to the tunnel turn as they pull away. So it looks like we're going to come home 41st. Come on, Junior, get around Tony Stewart. Rough him up a little bit. Do what I would do. Put him in the catch fence. I don't consider myself a dirty driver. I just don't consider myself a really good driver in this game. I've always been kind of a hit or miss driver. At certain tracks, I'm really good. Most tracks, I'm really not. And I do make a lot of contact, but that's okay. It's all part of it. Everyone drives different. Oh, boy, keep it off the wall. Tony Stewart will win the Pennsylvania 500 at Pocono, and we will come home 41st. And I just hope we finished ahead of Mike Skinner. And we did. Sweet. So we did get 2 out of the 3 sponsor expectations.
Not a single caution lap was run
Wow.
the whole race. No, that's
So I don't think we made much of a rival today. And look at our bonus. So we came away with an extra $110,000 in just expectation bonuses. We lost the prestige bonuses as they're kind of, our prestige crap's going down. That's okay though, and we don't have a happiness bonus. But hey, We got 2 out of the 3 expectations, which netted us an extra $110,000, and now our bank is at $897,000 with a few races left until our next shop we can start building on. And it'll be much cheaper than the engine dyno, which we spent, what, 1.1 or 1.2 million to have it. So, Tony Stewart wins. He's going to get another max points day, and Dale Jr. is second in points, is going to finish second, so they are on an island of their own. And we had a pretty decent day. Anyhow, if you like the video, please leave a like below. If you want to see more content, please subscribe to Diecast Buffet. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you have a great one. Diecast Buffet, signing off.